the Balls Podcast
with Mark Davis, Krista Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. It is Monday, July 8th, 2024. We're coming off a nice 4th of July Day weekend. I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke Rule. Jake Winnikine and Nick the Doc Skirkle will be joining us. And this is our last division preview episode. That's right. This is the 8th and final division, and we are finishing it off with the NFC West. That's right. The Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, the Los Angeles Rams, and the reigning NFC champions, San Francisco 49ers, will be the 4 teams we talk about. Luke, I didn't know the answer, but for people that are going to be listening, for people that are listening, how was 4th of July weekend? Like, how did you enjoy the 4th of July this year in Tennessee and Kentucky, technically?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I mean, good weekend. I mean, you came up from you to Nashville for the weekend. You know, I spent a little time over at Fort Campbell, watched Ludacris, and went down to Broadway. Got to see Eric Church play a little set, and had probably more drinks than we should have.
Yeah, we were supposed to just kind of stay until the lights came off, to see how it looks at night with all the bars lit up, Aldean's and all that. And
you saw
all that
shit.
Midnight. I saw it, and then we ended up staying a lot longer than we anticipated. We stayed probably another 4 or 5 hours, probably longer. We were there for about 10 hours. Only had one meal during the day, one meal. And then it was a good time, though. No, I will say I was very happy to be down there. Got to go to the river, float the river for a couple hours. Got a little burnt, even though he told us, hey, there's a lot of shade out there. I got burnt, and I know you got burnt. Yeah.
It ended up being a hot day.
It was a hot day.
Little hot day.
Little bumpy along the river on a couple parts, but nothing that we couldn't avoid,
That's what floating's all about, little bumps along the river. Yeah, it's a good time, and always something to do out here in Nashville.
And then, of course, Nashville itself. Alan, you should have been out there. It was a fun time, man. But no, Nashville itself, man. I would say Kid Rock and Aldean's was probably my favorite bar. I'll say Kid Rock. I like the vibe. I love country music, but I like that 2000s, alternative rock, kind of shit that they were playing. Love the lights being dimmed, the lights being off, and then the neon lights for the bartenders on their shirts. The band was pretty good. I had a good time there. Yeah,
I mean it's always a great time once you go down to Broadway. It's expensive, but it's always fun. It's worth it. You get what you pay for.
Pretty busy, pretty busy too. Barstool turns into a club afterwards. It's a nightclub. I'm not a huge nightclub guy, but it was a fun time. Very interesting people you see, but we're going to be back there in January. So I told Chris already, hey, make sure you have some money set to the side, because that one night we're in Nashville, I'm not going to drink as much. I have to be able to be up the next day. I have to do wedding festivities with you guys. I can't just be a bump on the log. I'll save the majority of drinking for Saturday and let the airport deal with me being hungover. But no, like I said, we're going to talk, Luke. This is the last division right here, right? So we are officially going to be done with the NFL division previews. I know we're still going to have the predictions we're going to do. We're going to have fantasy football. Hey, college football's coming around the corner as well. We got to start kind of talking about teams and things like that, predictions and whatnot. What's going on, Doc? Yeah, get your ass in here, man. Stop cooking that fish and get in here. And so, Luke, with that being said, we're going to start with last year's last place team, and let's do a little recap of the Arizona Cardinals. They did finish the season 4-13. The first 9 games they did not have Kyler Murray, and they were 3-5 without him, and they were 1-8. I'm sorry, they were 1-8 without him. They were 3-5 with him when he returned for the final so many games, half season pretty much. Obviously, it's the first full year with the offensive coordinator that they signed last year, Jonathan Gannon, his first full year with Kyler Murray. They drafted Marvin Harrison. They drafted very young, obviously, a bunch of draft picks. They drafted Marvin Harrison. They drafted Darius Robinson and Max Melton. All 3 are going to be starting most likely throughout the season, probably right away. They also drafted Trey Benson, who's probably going to be the backup to James Conner's start. Doc, come on, get in here, man. Stop commenting on Facebook. Get your ass in here. And Luke, the question honestly is, Well, they still did finish last place, Doc. They technically, they had 4 wins, but they were last place in the division, so we held that true to the water. But, Luke, the question, though, honestly, is, are the Arizona Cardinals going to shock folks? Are they going to be a surprise wild card team? We don't think they're going to win this division, but a surprise wild card team? Or are they still a couple years away? They have a lot of draft picks coming up still. They have maybe get a couple of free agency signings next year, too. But what do you think here, Luke, with the Arizona Cardinals?
No, I don't think they're a wild card team. I don't think they make the playoffs. I don't think they get close to touching the playoffs, really. Yeah, maybe they get 6 wins this season, but still, I don't think they're even close to that. I think they're slightly improved from last season, especially having Kyler Murray with Marvin Harrison. It'll definitely help out. But they also lost Hollywood Brown too, so man, that's going to take some of the wide receivers away instead of pairing them together. I mean, you just kind of swapped out wide receivers for like a better one. But I mean, like Zay Jones, I don't think he's really got it anymore. So
that's the thing is I don't know outside McBride and Harrison, like for the receiving and like tight ends, if the team is that good for Kyler Murray. I'm not a huge Kyler Murray fan. I think he's athletic and dynamic. Don't get me wrong. But outside Harrison and the running game and McBride, like who's going to step up behind Harrison?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's very, very possible we can get a Desmond Ridder playing quarterback at some point of the season too. Kyler Murray is pretty injury prone over the last few years. So
I think Kyler Murray, like I said, I know a lot of people think I'm a hater of him. I don't think he's in my top 10. I mean, I know some people still have him top 10 quarterback. I don't think he's there. He's maybe top half.
Got to be in the field to play. Be a top 10.
Joe Burrow said it. Remember, Joe Burrow said it this past couple of days. He said, "Hey, if you're not on the field, people forget about you." And he's not wrong. Joe Burrow's not wrong with that statement. But I just don't think Kyler Murray is the guy. I mean, we saw a couple years ago what they started 11-0, they lost their last 5 games, and then they lost in the playoffs. Kyler Murray I feel like he gets nervous. I think he has some clutch moments. I don't have Lamar over Kyler Murray, Doc, at all. I just don't think. I think maybe Murray might be just a slight better passer, but Lamar doesn't look scared at all, and I think Lamar is more clutch in the early season than Kyler Murray, and that says it. Like the running game, though, I think this running game, Luke, is going to be, I think, really good. Actually, I think if James Conner's healthy, 1,000-yard back last year, I thought he was pretty solid. Most of his career's been pretty solid, and I think Trey Benson, he didn't get 1,000 yards at Florida State, but his averages per carry, phenomenal. Yeah. He is he can run outside the tackles, and he gets going with some steam. It's a hard man to bring down.
Yeah, man, I think Trey Benson was a good draft pick for them, especially where they got him. I think they got him the third round.
He was a third round pick. He was a third round pick.
Yeah.
Third round pick, yeah.
So I mean, that's a solid pick in the third round. I mean, he could be the future bell cow of this offense whenever James Conner is done. I mean, I don't think James Conner's maybe got a season or 2 left in him at this point. I feel like he's always banged up too.
Yeah, I think Conner missed 6 games last year. He had 11. I mean, he made, like I said, 1,000 yards in 11 games. It's pretty good. I'm also concerned, Luke, with this defense. I know they were the worst team against the run. The second worst team in points per game. They just lack like anything. I mean, in the past game, it wasn't that good passing defense. Now it's a whole brand new D-line. It's new secondary. I know Budda Baker's still there. This defense, I don't know what to expect because you have Darius Robinson probably starting. He's a rookie from Missouri. In first round, Max Melton in the second round, I believe, from Rutgers. Phenomenal guys in college, but like, are they ready? I know we've seen some draft classes the last couple of years. We've seen draft classes work out right away. Seattle had a good couple classes a couple years ago. We've seen the Saints, the Lions last year. We've seen the Saints and the Falcons do it. It just seems I can remember on top of my mind, immediate for year one. But are the Cardinals, those year one guys ready against? No, I think a good division. I think the Seahawks, Rams, and the Niners are still good teams.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they had the defense put together early on enough to really make a huge difference. I think this defense doesn't get clicking until about halfway through the season. Once these guys get comfortable playing with each other, I mean, it's pretty much a brand new defense if you look at it.
No, it is a brand new defense. I was looking at earlier, just like I said, Darius Robinson. You have a new defensive tackle with Baleo Nichols right there. Justin Jones from the Bears. He's brand new to the squad. You have I don't know if Chris Burns was there. I think Chris Burns was there last. Yeah, Chris Burns was there last year. But like I said, new secondary out there with Sean Murphy-Bunting. Max Melton's new to this team, and they have a young, like all the guys behind them. They're all backups too. So I just don't know if Arizona. I know Jake. He's going to talk about it. Jake, hope you had a good 4th of July weekend. But he thinks the Cardinals are going to be above the Seahawks. I just don't know if the Cardinals are ready this year to be in 3rd place or better in this division. I think it's a good division. Talk Cardinals, Jake.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a surprise team. I think Cardinals are going to be. I mean, the second half they looked a little better than last year. I think when healthy, I think they're going to be all right. I think Seattle is going to be the worst team in the division for sure. I think Cardinals are going to be better than the Seahawks for sure.
I can't wait to talk about Seattle because I'm really surprised. I'm really interested. I mean, their quarterback, that we'll talk about, but the quarterback's my situation with the Seahawks. But I just don't know. I mean, to me, it just depends on Murray, and I've just seen Murray fold too many times under pressure. Like I said, I think McBride, Harrison, in the running game, solid full right there. Obviously, Benson and Connor can't play on the same play together. I mean, they can, but that's not ideal. It's just the receivers: Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, Chris Moore, Pascal, Dortch. I mean, that's who you're pairing next to Marvin Harrison.
You just double Harrison and you're set.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. But I mean, you gotta trust Kyler Murray's the big if. Like if Kyler Murray can play good and healthy, that's a big if. Obviously, teams are gonna focus on Harrison. I'm not saying that they're making playoffs or anything. Like, let's not be drastic, but
No. I have them maybe getting 6 wins at best this season. They do have a good kicking game. They got my boy Matt Prater from UCF, one of the strongest legs in the game currently. A little bit smaller than Justin Tucker, but he'll be competing to push that record of Tucker's for the longest field goal. I know he's attempted it a couple times.
Yeah, they'll probably be kicking a lot of field goals too, so he might have a lot of chances.
Yeah, they line him up deep too. So.
Oh yeah, they're not afraid to kick.
Yeah, he's got the leg to do it, but so and they're in a dome, so which helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like Mark died. He's
not
on here anymore.
He was like frozen for a minute.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna. I don't think this team is very much improved from last year. I think they get a couple, maybe a win or 2 more in last season. And that's about it. I still think they'll be one of the probably within the top 10 of picks.
I don't know what happened there, boys. Sorry, my internet. I was looking at.
You got to pay the bills. You got to pay your bills.
Right? For real.
I have I'm not like Chris. I'm not like Luke. You saw me struggling to pay the fucking power bill all the way to Nashville.
And now your Wi-Fi's out.
No, I mean, I don't know what it was. It just started giving me like the spit of death. I couldn't see you guys. I looked over at YouTube. You guys were still talking. I was literally legit frozen. Like it was just a smile on the screen.
Yeah. You're frozen for a while.
So, yeah, I just don't. I agree with Luke. I just don't know how many games this team's going to win. I get it. The team's interesting on paper. I'm not going to say I'm not interested. I just don't know I just don't know what to expect from the Cardinals this year. You're right. They were better the second half. They were 3-5 the last 9 games. That's still under 500.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going to be that good. I just think they're going to be better than Seattle. Because I'm saying I don't think Seattle's going to be good either. But I don't know. I honestly, I don't know what to expect. I mean, I think it's a make or break season for Kyler Murray. Like he's making too much money. They've got to do something. They drafted a couple pieces. They're not elite, but they're also not the worst team in the league. So I mean, I don't have Cardinals as the worst team in the league.
Well, looking at their schedule, so they have their first 10 weeks. I'll rattle off to you guys. Where do they get their first win? They're at Buffalo week 1. In Buffalo. Not home for Buffalo. They're in Buffalo. Is that like legit? Do you think that's
They could win week 4, depending on how Jane Daniels is doing.
I'm not calling out that Buffalo game.
I think Buffalo is a little. I don't think Buffalo is going to be good like they have been. We've already talked. I think Buffalo is going
major step back.
They are, but I think Buffalo's. I trust Josh Allen to still keep me in games. He might not win games. He might fuck up somewhere, but he's going to keep me in games. I don't think Arizona's good enough to do it. Okay, well, they play the Rams week 2 at home. The Lions week 3 at home. Okay, they have the Commanders week 4 at home. Like Luke said, maybe that's the game. But then you have Niners, at Packers, home for the Chargers, at the Dolphins, home for the Bears, home for the Jets. That is your first 2 weeks before a bye week. That is a brutal start to a schedule, in my opinion.
Brutal, absolutely. I agree. Oh, that's pretty brutal. I'm not counting out the Buffalo game. I'm not counting out the Rams game. Division games, even the Niners. Division games.
Yeah,
like our conference, it's a toss-up. It don't matter how good the other team is. These division games are toss-ups. But the rest of that stretch is pretty rough.
Well, over-under is 6. Well, I couldn't agree with Vegas. Vegas had over-under 7.5. I thought that was too generous. I gave them 6.5.
I'm going under. Six wins tops for them.
What's the second half? What's the second half of the schedule looking like?
Second half, they're at Seattle, at Minnesota, home for Seattle, home for the Patriots, at Carolina, at Los Angeles Rams, and then home for the Niners last week.
Man, they could win 3 to 4 of those last games.
Doc, Vegas has the Cardinals 7.5. I brought down to 6.5 because that's just too much. I think it's unrealistic to have a bet that's for them to go 7.5 after they just were a 4-win team. That's just, and they didn't do anything crazy in free agency, right? The draft.
And that last game of the season for Niners could mean nothing.
But it could mean everything because I think if you guys lose to Detroit week 17 and Detroit, you guys are tied and Detroit has the head-to-head, you guys need to win and help Detroit loses.
Yeah, it could. It could also mean everything. It could also mean nothing. It could be a free win. Could be a free win for the Cardinals down there.
Like last year, how the last game that you guys played, where you guys already wrapped up the home seed. But I'm going under. I think, like Luke said, 5-6 wins. I don't think they'll be the worst team in the NFL. I think they'll be a top 10 pick. And I just think it's – I don't know. I'm not high. I think they're the last place team in this division.
I'm going 7.
I think they're the last place team in this division too. And I
I'm
don't
going
think it's really
7.
even that close.
God, Jake, 7 wins. But I wrote that down. I'm writing that. I wrote that one down because if it comes true, good hit. Like, obviously, we're going to see how many wins you do when you actually do your week by week schedules. That's things like we're doing all these over unders, but when we do that week by week going in, ask Luke and Chris and Doc, it changes. Your over under is different here than when you actually start going by the schedule. And you have to,
it means nothing right this second because Kyler Murray can go tear his ACL in the first week of training camp. Picks right now mean nothing, but as it stands right this second, I'm going 7.
All right, well, Doc's got under with 5. And, boys, let's move on to the team that Jake keeps dogging right now. And that's the team, obviously, I think he has the most hate for in the division. That's the Seattle Seahawks. Let's do a little recap. They have had back-to-back 9-8 win seasons. 2 years ago, it was good for the playoffs. Last year, it was not because Green Bay had the tiebreaker over Seattle, and Seattle did end up winning the last game of the year anyways. But, hey, like Luke said before the show, Seattle Seahawks have a new, complete coaching staff. Mike McDonald, the former Ravens and Michigan Wolverines defensive coordinator, he's there. Ryan Grubb, the former Huskies offensive coordinator, new offensive system they're going to have to try and implement. I don't know how much college he does or how much not. And then defensive coordinator Aiden Dard, the Cowboys defensive line coach, is the new coaching staff. Geno Smith is still there. Sam Howell, they did trade for a third. We'll see if he starts. Boys, the question is, are the Seattle Seahawks going to get back to the playoffs, or like Jake thinks, are they going to take that step backwards?
I think at best they're a wild card team. I think they can squeak out. And NFC, you only need 8-9 wins to make the playoffs, anyways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
9 wins, probably.
8 or 9. They've had 8 win teams make playoffs in the NFC.
Well, division winner. Well, division winners, yes, but I don't think a wild card team.
But I can see them getting up to 9 wins, probably maybe 10.
I think
if they have a really good season. But we could see Sam Howell being a starter at some point this season too.
That was going to be my point. Yeah.
And Sam Howell didn't look that bad for the Commanders the first half until the O-line really started killing them. And the Seahawks O-line was actually not that bad last year, even though they had injuries. Now they have new offensive line members there, some guys returning. I think it's just a tough schedule. Talented team, but a very tough. I think they have a tough schedule as well. And can you trust Geno or Sam Howell? That's the question. I think the offensive weapons is. I like DK. I think Lockett still has a little juice in him, not the same Ty Lockett he once was, and JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba should be a pretty good receiver. I think he should take a step forward with Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator.
No offense, solid tight end. I mean, nothing crazy, but he's solid.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
so
run game. Two pretty dynamic running backs with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
Can Walker stay healthy? He had some injury bugs last year. That's an now if he's healthy. I mean, that's a different thing. Charbonnet hopefully should get more touches too. He didn't get as much touches as people thought he was going to get last year. And the defense. I mean, Luke, Mike McDonald has some work to do. This defense took a step backwards last year. Woolen actually had a sophomore slump. The rush, or I think, the rush defense was pretty bad. Well, honestly, they were pretty bad on defense in general. But they drafted Byron Murphy. You know, I'm a little biased. That's a dog from Texas. Luke, you understand that? That's the guy that Mike McDonald likes. That's the big body. He's a tackle who can move the line. He can open holes for the pass rushers. And I mean, Texas was one of the better rushing defenses last year. He's part of that D line. So can Mike McDonald bring the defense back?
I think it might take him a couple years to get him back. I mean, Mike McDonald runs a very complex defense, and it's going to take some of these, especially these younger players, a little while to start picking it up. The way that Mike McDonald runs the schemes, I think it's a lot easier for him to fit in with Baltimore, just because Baltimore always runs a complex defense, and they have for a long time. They always stack the line. They'll put 10 guys around the line of scrimmage and have them back off, and it's kind of what Mike McDonald liked to do too. So, I mean, and he's worked with both hardballs at this point, so they know each other well. But I think it might take him a couple seasons to start getting the defense right. It's going to take a little bit to fully install his defense, his complex defense. And I think Seattle's ran pretty much a basic defense ever since the Legion of Boom era.
I think Seattle also, Luke, adding a couple pieces, Jerome Baker and Tyrell Dotson from Buffalo and Miami. I think solid pickups right there for the Bills. I think that's good depth for them to have. They're actually going to be the starters. And then they added Jonathan Hankins from Dallas. He played with the Duke's line coach. So I think they had some solid pickups there. And then drafting Murphy, it's going to solidify that D-line a little better. I think the linebackers are going to be better. I just like what Seattle has going on. I think Woolen takes a step forward with McDonald there. And Witherspoon was really good last year in the slot position for corner. I don't know, man. Like this is, I think, a good team. I just think, unfortunately, a very, very tough schedule. And that's why, Jake, I think they are better than Arizona. I just think this team is better on offense. I think they're better on defense. I mean, the players are more proven, I guess you can say, than Arizona.
More proven, but old. So my thing, all right. For one, yes, schedule's tough, but so is the Cardinals. So I'm not going to knock either or both schedules are tough. So they both have that not going for them. As you guys said, the whole new coaching staff, and like you said, it's gonna take a few years. This isn't going to be just one boom, like it on fire after this first season. I don't see it. It's going to be a few years. I could even see them being sellers at the trade deadline.
Lockett, maybe.
I think Lockett. I think DK could be a diva. He's already starting. But Lockett's not improving. He's on the decline.
Yeah.
Geno, he had that one good year. He did not look good. He was terrible last year. He did not look good last year. I don't see him getting better than he was last year. He's on the decline. Do we see Sam Howell? I mean, I think so at some point. But even then, at that point, the season's probably over once they make that switch. I think they go into full rebuild mode with the full new staff. I think it's going to be a bad year for Seattle.
I don't think you have to go to rebuild. I don't think with the talent they have, I get it, like quarterback might be a thing. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to be great in the NFL, but why not go in? Shedeur Sanders is explosive, or maybe why not take a play at Dak Prescott if he wants?
They got Geno to restructure, right? Didn't he restructure?
Well, yeah, they could pretty much release him after the year with like nothing hurting. Like it might be like a small dead cap, but I don't think they have to go to full rebuild mode. I think, you could trade away Lockett if the season's over. Maybe he goes to a team that maybe needs a receiver like 2 or someone in the slot there. I think you keep DK and JSN, and then the running game is fine. But I see them being maybe like 4-4, and then they move on to Sam Howell, and then the season's still there for them, or maybe 6-6, and then Sam Howell takes over. I don't know. I just don't think it's a full rebuild mode because Seattle's still pretty young on the defense as well. They just locked up Leonard Williams long term.
They re-signed him, yeah.
I think it's more retooling than full rebuild.
Well, it'll be. I think I had them as sellers. I don't know if full rebuild, but I had them as sellers at the deadline, not buyers.
Yeah, it can't be Geno's last year, Doc. It's the way they restructured. It's a 3-year deal they gave him, but they could pretty much move on at any point. So that's the way that the deal is. That's why they made the move for Sam Howell and trading away a 3rd-round pick. That's a people don't understand. That's actually a valuable pick. The 3rd round is not something that you just sneeze away from. That means he might end up starting. He could take that spot in preseason. Honestly, he could. It could be like not saying Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn, but Russell Wilson was drafted to there. But it could be like a Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn, where they gave Matt Flynn money and Russell Wilson still took that spot.
Yeah,
So,
I can see Sam Howell doing it too. I think he didn't really have a chance when he was at Washington. He was running for his life and getting fucking destroyed every play. And he was the leading passer for a good part of the season last year, even after that. So,
yeah.
He put him behind a good offensive line. Who knows what he can do? And he's got a really talented wide receiver room.
As of this point right now, I can honestly say Sam Howell is probably better than Geno Smith.
I think he is too. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And that line they did draft Christian Haynes in the 3rd round. He was supposed to be like a 2nd round, maybe even a late 1st round pick out of UConn. He's probably going to be the backup to start, but let him learn. And he comes in at guard, and he actually could play tackle too. I think the line set up now. We're going to see if Lucas and Cross can stay healthy. That was the problem last year, was the injury bug. And I don't know. I like Seattle. The over under for them was 8.5. It was actually 7.5, but I bumped them to 8.5 because they were 9 wins, and I'm just not going to put them on the same level as Arizona. So I moved them to 8.5, and I am under. And that's just because of the schedule. I think this is an 8-win team. I can see 9 wins, maybe like Luke said, maybe 10 wins if they get hot. But
no,
I think it's an 8-win team. I think the Cardinals get around 6, maybe 5 at the worst. I think the Seahawks can go from 7 to 9, and I'll go in the middle, and I'll meet them at 8. It's a tough schedule. I do think they're going to pull an upset over Miami, though, in Seattle week 3. I am calling that. Seattle, if healthy, will beat Miami week 3 in Seattle.
I think they're going to start the season probably 2-0 at least. They could be 3-0.
Yeah, actually, they could be 2-0, Jake. Yeah, they have Denver and then at New England. It's a good start for them.
Yeah.
Their schedule is not that bad. Compared to every team's going to have a tough schedule. That's what NFL, everything's so level for the most part.
Parity.
And then, I could see them at 3-2, maybe at worst by week 5 through week 5.
I could see them at 4-5, 5-4 going into the bye week, and then maybe if Geno Smith's already starting, maybe that's when Sam Howell comes in right there after that bye week.
Yeah, so I'm going to give them, looking at the schedule, I'm going to give them the over. I think they can get to 9 wins and maybe get that wild card slot.
I think the second half is brutal too, man. I don't know, man.
They got Arizona in there. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers will be playing for New York at the time? They got Arizona again. So
they play the Niners in there. They have the Bears. It's at Chicago. It's going to be cold. It's a cold game. And that Rams end the week.
They play in the cold too. So
yeah, they're fine.
It's Seattle cold and Chicago cold are two different things. Seattle cold's not snowy. Chicago cold is snowy and windy. Seattle is more of a rainy cold. It's a different type of winter.
Still cold and wet. I think they're better suited for it than some other teams would be.
And we know what happened last time the Seahawks played the Denver Broncos in Seattle week 1. They won. That was an upset game. No one had them winning because we thought Russell and the Broncos would be good that year. And then Peyton, you see Peyton saying timeout, 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 like he's on his show with Eli, just fucking ripping Daniel Hackett. But no, I have the under, Jake, as well. I'm under with you on that one, but better than Arizona.
Give me 6.
So you have 7. Okay, let me write that down real quick. So 6 wins for
6 wins.
6 wins Seahawks, and then I wrote.
F them Seahawks.
Yeah, I know
You'll
you
be very
hate that.
upset if they. You'll be very upset if they upset San Francisco.
They got swept by San Francisco last year, if I'm not mistaken.
They're gonna have 6 wins. They're gonna beat the Niners to get their 7th win, and I'm gonna be so mad.
All right, boys, and let's move to a team that I am actually super excited for. I think they surprised everyone last year with the season that they had. They ended up making the playoffs at 10-7. That is the Los Angeles Rams, and like I said, 10-7. They were second place in the NFC West. They went down to the wire with the Detroit Lions. In Detroit, they lost by 1 point. I believe it was 24-23, if I'm not mistaken. And then Aaron Donald retires, and that's a big blow. One of the best defensive players that one of the best players we've ever watched play this game in our lifetime, in our era. They replaced him with Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk, 2 former Florida State unconquered champions from the Seminoles, and new defense coordinator as Raheem Morris moved on to Atlanta. They have a defense coordinator that's been with Sean McVay, I believe, since like 2017, since he took over as the Rams coach. He's been just climbing the ranks on the defensive side. So he's a new defense coordinator there. The offense, what a big surprise. They had Puka Nacua took Cooper Kupp's spot. Cooper Kupp came back, start off a little good when he got back, but then kind of fell off. So will he be better? They draft Blake Corum from Michigan to pair up with Kyron Williams. The question is, can the Los Angeles Rams truly challenge the San Francisco 49ers for this division?
I don't think they're on quite that level yet. I think they probably split games this year. I think they probably split with each other, but it's tough. I mean, it's hard to bet against Matthew Stafford too, because he can pull off some big time games, and especially under big pressure. It sucks losing some of the defensive pieces, but they also retooled a lot on the defense, adding those 2 Florida State players and
brand new
out of Michigan.
It's a brand new defense, honestly. Go ahead, Jake. I know what you're going to say.
You don't know. I could get out here and praise the Rams. They could be the next best thing. Are they?
Yeah.
Well, no, they're not. No, they're not. I don't know. I'm literally, I don't know what to expect from the Rams. Honestly, on paper, that offense looks scary. Puka Nacua came out of nowhere. Looks absolutely amazing. I think he's going to be a stud. But what Stafford are we getting? I don't know if he's ever going to be 100% healthy again. I feel like his shoulder he's got a bum shoulder going on.
It's been fried since Detroit, honestly.
It's fried. I mean, he had that really good year,
is.
but it's been going downhill and going downhill fast. He looks pretty bad, and he throws so much. Maybe now, with the two-headed monster they got behind in the backfield, maybe they can get some more carries in, and he doesn't have to throw the ball 30 times a game. Who knows? But
you're talking about 2 running backs that complement each other too. Blake Corum complements Kyron Williams really
amazing.
Big time.
2 amazing. I mean, it could be fantastic.
Jake, you have no idea, because I might have put in Dynasty or the Sleeper or the Discord. Me, Luke, and all them we're in Dynasty together, and as soon as Blake Corum got announced, I was pissed. I have Kyron Williams, and I was like, "Damn it, dude!" I did not want him to go to the Los Angeles Rams at all.
But every team now has 2 running backs. I mean, there's 1 or 2 possible that like the Niners. I mean, CMC gets every touch, but even Shanahan came out and said that. Oh, I mean, we'll talk about Niners next, but so I'm not worried about the whole 2-headed monster thing. There'll still be a lead back, but for fantasy, yeah, obviously. But the real question mark is the defense. I mean, we don't know what to expect. Yeah, they got the 2 FSU boys. They picked up some good draft picks. They had a good draft, but other than that, losing Donald, that defense wasn't that good last year. I mean, I don't know if those 2 players are going to make such a big impact right away. I mean, I don't know.
I like the Tre'Davious White signing if he's healthy. I mean, big if.
When's the last time he's been healthy, though?
It's been a while, and it sucks because when he is healthy and the short sample size we get every year, he's good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't mind, getting him myself, but
yeah, because I know you're talking about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'm not knocking Tre'Davious White, but the thing is, you're going to get maybe 2, 3, 4 great games out of him, and that's what he gives you. he's not going to all of a sudden just his body going to start getting healthy. It's been a downhill decline. He just can't stay healthy.
It's a brand new secondary in general. They brought Cameron Curl in. They brought back Darius Williams. They brought back John Johnson. They drafted Cameron Kitchens out of the University of Miami in the 3rd round. He's a dog at safety. Verse and Fisk, like I said, on the line. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not saying that the Rams are going to take the Niners. I think they're actually going to finish 1 game behind. I have the Niners win the division, but I think the Rams are close. I think they're legitimately close. I think I will say when we do the over under, this is an over for me team. I think that the Los Angeles Rams are honestly really electric on offense, and that's the reason why they're going to help the defense out by winning the games and shootouts, maybe draw the clock out with that running game that Luke's mentioned and you've mentioned. I think that the Rams are a solid team. I don't think that they beat the Niners yet. Maybe split like Luke said. I can see them honestly splitting 1-1, but we forget that Shanahan does own Sean McVay. Always has. That's just been a thing. He has a really good record against Sean McVay. Kyle Shanahan taught Sean McVay a lot of stuff, obviously. So he knows how Sean McVay is going to do things. But I like this team. I think Kyron Williams is one of the top running backs in the league. What are you saying, Jake?
Who's their backup quarterback?
Backup quarterback is Stenson Bennett as of right now. He's back. He's back in the league.
That's rough.
I don't know. You got to be in the league to be back.
And I think 8.5.
They got Jimmy G too.
He's not listed on the. Is he?
He's suspended, but they got him.
He's suspended.
Oh yeah. Well, did Carson Wentz sign with the Chiefs? Didn't he? They had Wentz last year. No, Jake.
Jimmy G.
Well, we're not gonna talk over under now, but the reason why Vegas disrespected the Rams, in my opinion, they had the over under 8.5 for the Los Angeles Rams. I just don't understand it. We're not gonna talk about that right now, but I just don't understand why so down on the Rams. They were 10-7 last year. I get it. They lost Aaron Donald, but they made a lot of defensive acquisitions in free agency. Guys that are a little older, but they're proven vets if healthy. And the offense is they didn't lose anything. Like the offense, if Kupp's healthy, if Kupp's healthy, this fucking receiving core is lethal. Lethal.
Yeah, but it's not just if Kupp's healthy, it's if Stafford's healthy.
Stafford was fine last year.
Yeah, he was there, but his shoulder wasn't fine.
Needle up, man.
I know, but...
Doc, what you think about the Rams?
You can't tell me Stafford ain't the toughest motherfucker in the league after that game he had for the Lions when he came back with a broken collarbone and came back and won it. Whoever it was, yeah. That dude came out, put it all on the line, was ready to win that game.
They were telling him to spike it. He's like, no, fuck that, dude. I'm gonna dive over real quick, dude. I don't give a shit. No. There was a couple games like that. Yeah, there's a couple games like that where he was a throw, and then the other was he just reached over. Like, yeah, what you saying?
Jimmy G would be in an ambulance already the way to the hospital.
Jimmy G's saving grace, baby. Don't worry about him. That little guy. Don't worry about that little guy.
He's been to a Super Bowl with the rival 49ers. So what you think, Doc, about the Rams? I know you're here late to the party, but how you feel about the Rams?
I want to feel good. I mean, the offense is there. Stafford is not the question mark in my mind. I mean, obviously, yeah, anybody that's not healthy is not going to play well in this league. We've seen that time and time again. Stafford is still a proven quarterback. I think he's still a huge step up from Jared Goff in the late LA Rams, like the second half LA Ram Jared Goff era. The receivers are there. My concern, we talked about Cooper Kupp being out, and you look at the Rams pre-Cooper Kupp, and I'm not impressed. When Cooper Kupp was out last year, you talk about it, Stafford's one's got to be healthy. This offense was not incredible. Stafford had a very slow start to the year last year. Even with Nakua taking off like he did.
They were top 10 offense in every category.
At the end of the year or at the beginning of the year? Because Stafford took off, but I remember in the start of the season, he was very low touchdown-interception ratio, like very low touchdown ratio. The yards, there were a lot of question marks early on in the season with Stafford. He did pick it up. When Cooper came back and this offense was whole, he definitely picked it up. And Kyron Williams has to be that great back and, open up the passing game for him. There's a lot of great weapons on offense. I don't have any concerns about the offense. My concern is on the defense.
I will say Stafford from week.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
From November 26th, this is the last 6 games. Arizona, he had 229, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 279, 3 touchdowns against the Browns. Against the Ravens, they did lose, but that was that crazy game. He had 294, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Against the Commanders, 258, 2 touchdowns, interceptions. Against the Saints, 328, 2 touchdowns, interceptions. And then against the Giants.
You said November 22nd?
November 26th and on. The only bad game he had in that stretch, which they did win, 317, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Buddy, listen.
That's the final stretch.
Listen.
That's the final stretch.
I get that. I wasn't talking about the whole season. I'm talking about the final stretch. I said Stafford got off to a slow start. Let's talk about September and October Stafford.
Yeah. I mean, okay,
the early Stafford was a lot more question marks.
The first 3 games, honestly, was a struggle. I'll give you that. Yeah, the first 3 games was a struggle. But after that, he had a good year after that. And then against the Lions.
I agree. I didn't say it a bad year. I said it a bad start. That was all I was talking about.
I just think I mean, yeah, I get it, but I think that outside the Lions, I had to see all state. Yeah, outside the Lions, I mean, it's division games, Cardinals and Niners, but I don't know. I'm high on Stafford. I've always liked Stafford. I think he's a hell of a player. I have too.
I thought he got shafted in Detroit. They didn't build around him.
Oh, they gave him weapons. It's the defense that was always kind of suspect. They had Calvin Johnson and they did draft Baron or who was it? Fucking the guy from Oklahoma. Eric Ebron couldn't catch balls. So he was a hell of a fucking tight end in college. And then they did bring in Golden Tate. Golden Tate wasn't bad. I mean, they did bring in weapons. They just have a defense.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about defensively. When we talk about, the Rams made some good pickups on defense. But the reality is you lost a game changer. You lost a guy like we saw Khalil Mack coming to Chicago in his first year and change the landscape of the game and be able to put this team into a position to go 12-4. Aaron Donald's the kind of guy that puts pressure on, forces the quarterback to make bad passes. The defense kept that offense in the game early on, where they still didn't even win early on. But late in the season, same thing, kept that offense up high, defense staying off the field, offense getting more time to run the ball. My question mark is still in the defense. I'm not sold in the defense because when you lose a guy like Aaron Donald and the type of edge rush or type of defense that you're playing, you got to go back to the drawing board. You lost all of your force coming off the line. Now, I like the guys. Jared Verse, I think Jared Verse is great. I think Jared Verse can be a huge stud on defense, and I'm hoping that he is. And that's my FSU, bias right there. But if he doesn't, this is a team that's coming with a new landscape on defense. Question is, do they have a new game plan? Do they have a new way to attack and get past the front 5 for, the offense and get to the quarterback, put the pressure on him without having that piece that creates that? Aaron Donald, like I said, it's like Khalil Mack. Aaron Donald's the type of guy that is opening up holes on the other end of the line, allowing other guys to get through because of triple teaming Aaron Donald. There's so much going on. So I'm not sure.
Thanks, Chris, for that. Chris said, whenever Doc talks, make sure you're prepared to get a clip because nobody likes what he says.
You're goddamn right, but that's because it's right. That's because nobody likes the truth.
Back to Stafford. If we're talking about him being healthy, they did bring in Jonah Jackson from the Lions. He's one of the best fucking offensive linemen in football to also pair with the other lineman that they kept. Dotson. So that line's going to be good. I don't know. I just think the Rams they're close. They're not there yet, but they're close to the Niners. And the over-under is 8. The over-under is 9.5 for the Los Angeles Rams. And I have over. I think this is an 11 or 12 win team.
What, Vegas or yours or that's the same?
Vegas had 8.5. I was like, no, that's disrespectful. I went 9.5. And I wanted to go 10, but I was like, I'm not going to be that. I'm going to go 9. Over.
I'm going to go 9 because I think that offense is strong enough. I think they'll keep them in enough games and be able to come down the stretch. But I mean, can they do more? I absolutely think they can. It depends on what this defense is going to do. With the young bucks coming in out of the draft, I think they can absolutely dominate. But when you're, like I said, when you're losing a caliber of Aaron Donald, man, to open up holes and create space for other players in the line, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be an over for me too. I think just over 9.5. I think they get 10 wins and it's about it. maybe get a wild card slot. Their schedule's not that bad.
I'm right under. I got them at 9.
And like you said, Luke, the schedule is honestly not that bad in my opinion. That's the thing is the schedule is very favorable for them, and they're the second place team. The fact that they have a more favorable schedule than the Seahawks and the Cardinals, who are 3rd and 4th, is pretty crazy in my opinion. early bye week though, week 6. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, no, I agree with you, Chris. There, Stafford. Stafford.
Jimmy G's a happy man.
Oh, right.
The next Nick Foles.
Jimmy G's a happy man.
And let's move on to the reigning NFC champions. How fitting we're going to talk about the NFC champions last in this whole division preview, all 8 episodes, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. And let's do a quick recap. The San Francisco 49ers did go 12-5. They didn't have to win their last game, and they got home field advantage. They let go of Steve Wilkes. In my opinion, he was a scapegoat. You guys know how I feel about Kyle Shanahan. It's always someone else's fault. It's never Kyle Shanahan's fault. Yes, we as fans will give him some pressure and some heat, but everyone else gives him an excuse because he is a fucking golden boy. He's got all these crazy fucking plays. But Steve Wilkes, still a top 5 defense, top 7 defense last year in every category. I think the losses, besides the Bengals, was not the defense's fault, really. Even the Ravens game, the offense put them in bad positions with all the turnovers that Brock Purdy had. But anyways, I digress there. New defense coordinator. They had a lot of key signings on the defense. They had Floyd, Campbell. They traded for Collins on the defensive line. The question, honestly, is, and they go again, like Jake said last episode, they can't beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, 25-22 in overtime. The question is it Super Bowl or bust for the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, absolutely, it's Super Bowl bust. With that roster, it's been Super Bowl bust.
The question is, will Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel be there all year? That's the other question. I'm sorry.
No.
Deebo, yes. Ayuk, no.
I don't know if Ayuk's there for week 1.
I think they should just get rid of Ayuk right now. The dude's annoying as crap. Like, he obviously wants to go with the Commanders. Like, go with the Commanders, you freaking crybaby.
No, you want to suck? Go suck. You know what I mean?
Like, you're an idiot. Like, I mean, really? Like,
didn't he post a video of him watching Commanders film?
He's watching film, and he posted a video. Like you're so annoying.
You're a guy.
We're talking a. Why am I drawing a blank on his name from Buffalo? Stephon Diggs type drama and distraction.
Well, that's worse than Stephon Diggs, in my opinion. That's worse than Diggs.
Well, it's worse in general because this team is actually capable of winning.
Well, Stephon also never posted that neither. Diggs never acted like that. He just had drama within on the field, not
he
like
just cried on the sideline. You're right.
Yeah.
And the last thing a Super Bowl favorite team needs is this stupid drama. Like, I mean, Nick Bosa held out last year, and he even said that he regretted it. He didn't have the offseason.
Chris Jones said the same shit.
That he wished he had. Yeah, they don't have a good year.
It worked out for Chris Jones, though.
It did. It definitely did.
Why is that, Luke? Why did it work out?
All right, because he got paid.
And what else happened?
Paid.
He also won a Super Bowl. He also won a Super Bowl.
Nothing to do with holding out. Nothing to do with holding out.
Nothing. But
it probably would have won one more game if he didn't hold out the first game.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Ayuk's a middle of the pack receiver. He's a dime a dozen. He's acting like he's a top 5. He's not. No, I don't care what anyone says. He's not a top 5 receiver.
I'm not saying top 5.
I'm not saying top 5.
I don't
but
he's
not a middle of the pack receiver.
He's can't be replaced. His 1,000 yards can't be replaced.
Makes about any receiver. I mean, but
who they pick up the guys from Florida?
Better figure out Ricky Pearsall can do it.
That's why I think. I don't know.
He's getting replaced that easy.
I think Ayuk is going to still be there. I think that he's just doing all this. He's going to get paid. I think Deebo might play all year.
One of them's leaving.
The guy that's going.
One of them's leaving.
But even if he doesn't get paid, he's got to play. He's under contract. He's been.
What's funny?
He's been at the stadium for the last 2 weeks working out, so he's in the stadium. The media is making it into a more of a big deal than he is, and he's kind of antagonizing it. I mean, he's playing either way, but
he's doing it for attention. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's super annoying.
I just think that this team, like you said, Jake, it is. I mean, this team is meant to win. This team is arguably one of the best teams in football. We can all agree that they're in the top 3, top 5 teams in the NFL. It's a Super Bowl bust. I will keep saying over and over until Kyle Shanahan's on his last year of his contract, this motherfucker needs to win a Super Bowl or he's got to go when his contract's up. I don't know when his contract's up, but whenever that last year is, he better win or they just better not bring him back because it's the same shit every single year with different pieces. And
I don't know,
this
man.
defense, I love the defense. I love what you guys added. I really do. I love the pieces that you guys brought in. I still think that Steve Wilkes wasn't a scapegoat. I get it. There are some. I think that the games you lost, like the Vikings game, yeah, I get it. You guys only get 22 points. Your offense only got 17. I mean, you still need more than fucking 3 scores to win a game.
Didn't give CMC the ball enough.
Okay, and then the Ravens game, are we going to blame the defense too for Lamar having his game, or are we going to blame Brock Purdy for putting the defense in shit positions for Lamar Jackson to run wild on the Niners? I mean, it goes both ways there.
Well, he also threw
what
more picks.
What about the Super Bowl where they held they held Mahomes honestly?
But dude actually made Lamar look like a quarterback, dude. Come on.
Okay, and they fucking made Brock Purdy look bad, and that's what gave Lamar good field position too.
Brock Purdy got benched that game.
That's what lost Purdy the MVP too. If whoever won that game, whoever shined in that game was winning MVP.
Yep.
In the Browns game, honestly, I don't give a shit that they allowed a guy to go to a field goal range. No. 19 points. You scored 17. That's the keys. You're scoring 17 points in 2 of your 4. I'm not gonna count the last game because it was backups, but 2 of your fucking 4 losses that actually meant something were 17 points, 22 points and less. Actually, that's not good enough to win in these games. So
same shit that I said about the Eagles on the double doink. I don't blame the kicker. I blame the offense not putting the Bears in a position to win that game.
And that's why Steve Wilkes to me is the scapegoat. And okay, that's fine. He's the scapegoat.
I don't think he's a scapegoat. Like I'm not saying like would I have fired him? Yes, absolutely. He had lost the locker room. Defensive players they hated the scheme. They said he came in there. He changed the whole defensive scheme. They weren't getting the pressure that they were used to. Like no one. It was a whole lot more than that. I mean, they called him out of the booth to get him to the sideline, to try to get him more close with the players. It was a lot of stuff, not just us giving up a ton of points. It was a lot more to that. I don't think he was a scapegoat. Shanahan deserves blame, absolutely. But did he need to go? Yes, 100%. I don't think it was a scapegoat.
Chris.
Do you like Nick Sorensen?
I don't know.
Defense coordinator. That's what I'm saying. Like I've never heard this fucking guy.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not. We'll see. But I agree that Wilkes needed to go. Yes.
I don't know that you fire Shanahan though just for losing. I mean, if he's still getting deep in the playoffs, he's still making money. He's still.
Hey, ask the Eagles.
I mean, the Bills did it 3 years in a row.
Ask Andy Reid what happens in Philly if you just get there far and you don't win. Eventually, you can't be renewed. You can't come. I mean, I'm not saying fire him now.
Andy also did. How long Shanahan been? Andy did like 20 years.
Shanahan's been since 2017. He's
not
going on
as long as Reid.
Okay, Andy Reid only had like 10 seasons, 10, 12 seasons. You're going on like fucking year 7, 8 with like. I mean, you're getting close to that window. Like I'm not saying I'll take it back. Don't fire him. Maybe I'm overreacting, but what I'm saying is if he's got 4 years left, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, and by 2027 season and the season's over, you can't renew him. Like you just can't accept mediocrity. Like that's mediocrity in my opinion.
Here's my thing though: if he's getting the Super Bowl and he's not winning, if he's getting the Super Bowl and he's not winning, he's your scapegoat. If Shanahan's your scapegoat, who are you bringing in that's going to win that Super Bowl?
Well, we'll see in 4 years.
Who's going to be such a difference maker? They're going to win a Super Bowl. This guy got you all season long. Who's going to? If that's the case, change up the play call, give it to somebody else.
That's never going to happen because that's Kyle Shanahan's fucking ego. His ego is so high that he does the unnecessary.
No, I know. I saw some dumb
game.
I know.
I've seen it. Ego. We think Dan Campbell's got an ego trip with all these stupid 4th down decisions. That's Kyle Shanahan every single fucking year. That's Kyle Shanahan every year.
I hate to bring him up. But it's that time of the episode. But Harbaugh's no fucking different in Baltimore.
Well, except Harbaugh's won. He's got a Super Bowl though.
But that's the thing is like.
What year was that?
You have to update your resume. Like, you have. I'm not saying John.
What year was that, Luke?
Yeah, but Mark,
2012.
My thing. You keep
2012. So if Shanahan had 12 years, okay, I'll give you a 12-year window. I'm not. Look, Harbaugh's a great coach.
Harbaugh won a championship in his first 5 seasons.
Well, we saw Harbaugh make a lot of stupid calls too.
And I agree with you. And I'm on John. And you can ask Luke, how much shit do I give John Harbaugh every single year?
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not picking at you, Mark. I'm just saying, who's the guy that you bring in then that is such a difference maker and still carry you all season long and make those crucial decisions in the Super Bowl that Shanahan, apparently is.
Ask me in 4 years. What I'm saying is when's his contract up, Jake? That's what I want. Okay, how about that? When's his contract up?
He just renewed, him and Lynch.
Okay. But how long? Is it 3 years, 5 years? I mean,
I think it's 5.
Okay, so in 5 seasons, if that's what I'm saying, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but you
but
can't
my
accept
thing
the
is-
same thing.
My thing is every single season that he's had a healthy quarterback, it's NFC Championship or Super Bowl. Even
Chris,
with
he's
Jimmy
right
G,
up after. Chris, he's right up after Coward.
every single season with a healthy quarterback, they've
Can't
gone to
have
the
that,
NFC
that's not
Championship
Baltimore.
or the Super Bowl. Yes, but how
I
are
agree.
we talking? How are we talking about in 5 years firing a coach? Who talks about firing a coach?
Well,
in
because
5 years?
is every year.
I do.
Okay, I have a
Every
question.
time, every
I
time
have a
they hire a
question.
Bears coach.
Is every year
Start off in the hot seat.
because I remember well, let me answer this question, because when Saleh got fired, or when Saleh took the Jets job, you were okay with him leaving because you thought he was an overrated defense coordinator. You didn't want, okay, I'll give you D'Amico Ryans. You did not want D'Amico Ryans to go at all. You did not want Ryans to go. But every single year, the defense coordinator is either overrated or the scapegoat. So when is it time for Kyle Shanahan to get that same type of reaction and pressure that these guys get? Because that's the situation, is we're going to blame the defense every single year. The defense didn't cost you the Super Bowl. The defense was tired because the offense wasn't fucking staying on the field neither.
He got both those defensive coordinators promoted to head coach. What are you talking about?
I said Ryans, but you didn't like. But you thought Saleh was overrated. You thought
yes.
yeah. So and you think Steve Wilkes was terrible. So which coordinator out of the last three, besides Rocky Ryans, is good? But you didn't like Saleh as coordinator. You didn't like Steve Wilkes. When's Shanahan's pressure? Because you just can't sit here and say NFC Championship, that's great. In Super Bowl, we're going to lose, and think, okay, that's good for the next 10 years. Don't you want to win one eventually? Don't you want to find a coach that might win you one? Like, just might get you there? Because guess what? The Eagles finally won one. It took a couple years after Andy Reid, but they finally won one with Doug Peterson. Did they not?
Saleh had a top 5 defense. No one was blaming Saleh. He got promoted. I didn't like him.
But you didn't like him, though. Okay,
Yeah,
and Steve Wilkes had a top 5 defense last year, too. He did.
Dude,
Every category he was top 5.
There's
You're
so
not
much
going to
more.
say that.
There's so much more
and I
to talk about than just Shanahan. You got to remember, last year was Purdy's second year in the league. I'm not saying in the weapons. I'm not saying he isn't capable.
Okay, is Purdy the guy? Because that's the next question. Is Brock Purdy the guy? Luke mentioned it. He's got to get paid eventually. Is he the guy?
I think he is for San Francisco, but nobody is the guy year one except for Patrick Mahomes.
Big Ben was
even,
fucking year.
Even Mahomes didn't even win in his second year in the league.
Big Ben won the Super Bowl in his second year. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl in his second year. Terry Bradshaw won the Super Bowl in his second year. I mean, Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl in his second season. I mean, I just named 4 off the top of my mind. That's not even Googling it.
So Ford did it.
And which team had better weapons and a better defense around them? Let's not and don't sit there and say, "Oh, he's Mr. Relevant." Tom Brady was 199, so that's not that far off from Mr. Relevant. It's 1 full round of difference. It's not that big of a difference. 6th round, 7th round is not that big of a difference. So don't sit there and tell me he's a 7th round quarterback. Because Tom Brady was
I'm bringing up round of the draft, dude. If you ain't first round, then you're Mr. Irrelevant.
So Luke, is Brock Purdy the guy? I mean, is he?
I mean, I don't think he's the long-term guy. I think he has been a good plug for their fuck up that they had with Trey Lance. So I mean, he's been a good plug, but I don't know.
I don't know if I'd call it a fuck up.
Trey Lance.
Or CD scapegoat.
They didn't really give Trey Lance a shot.
He never really
came back from injury and lost his job.
They said Trey Lance looked like shit in practice. Is what Jake was saying a lot of times.
Trey Lance was terrible. He was too young. He had played 1 season in college and then he took a year off. So I mean, the dude hasn't even played. He could still be good, but right now, or at that point, he was not good. But
1 year in college matters now. But now we're talking about Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Well, but Trey Lance sat a year in between that.
He sat a year in between. Yeah, he took a year off, and then COVID hit. He didn't play forever.
Shit.
But Purdy, let's not forget. So Purdy came in midseason, who had never even took a first with the first team. He never even took a rep. He was not expected to play. No one even knew this guy's name. Came in and beat Miami, took a championship. Would have went to the Super Bowl if he didn't get hurt. So he had no reps with the first team.
Oh, is that what stopped him in 22? Because I don't think he got hurt in 23.
Stopped who in 22?
Well, they got hurt
he
against.
got hurt.
And it's typically got hurt against the Eagles, but we don't know if they would have beat.
Absolutely would have beat.
I don't know. But, in Philly was different.
Not lately.
The dude came in out of nowhere. Had no first team reps. Had no off season, barely with the team, and just had his first full season. Am I saying he's the guy? No. Is he a good fit for San Francisco right now? Yes, but I mean, the dude just literally had his first full season.
That's the thing.
Well,
And that's the thing. We haven't seen
Do you pay him?
Purdy without a fully stocked offense.
We haven't seen Purdy with the offseason.
But
He
like
was
Jake said
he was
too,
rehabbing all year last year. He
most
wasn't ready
quarterbacks
until the season started.
have great weapons over their tender as a quarterback. I mean, it doesn't matter which quarterback.
I hate hearing
Hey.
that weapons crap. Every quarterback that wins has weapons. That's the
Peyton
dumbest
Manning
thing I've
had
ever heard in my
weapons.
life. Everybody had weapons.
Tom Brady had weapons. They didn't win the Super Bowl with Randy Moss, but don't tell me he didn't have fucking weapons. He still had weapons over the tenure of his career. He joined Tampa Bay that had weapons too. Every great quarterback that wins Super
He
Bowl
joined arguably the best wide receiver duo.
He
in
has
the league.
recruiting talent.
Like, and I agree with you guys. We're not talking 7th round pick. We're not talking where he was picked, which, I don't care where he was picked. But
6 or
if
7
he
is
was,
the same shit.
yeah, anywhere down there is. But if he was drafted first round, we would not be talking about the weapons that Purdy has. We would be talking about the skill that Purdy has. But
We'd be talking about whether he can make his receivers weapons.
But because of where he was drafted, like, so right now, if Caleb Williams goes out and balls out, we're going to say Caleb Williams is a dog, right?
Well, the haters are going to say the haters are going to say the weapons. The guys that respect his talent is going to
Are
say
going
the
to say he's a
talent.
dog. But
Yeah.
if he was drafted 7th round, we're going to say, man, that Bears offense is stacked. That's the only reason Caleb Williams is doing what he's doing.
But I agree with year 1. Okay, as a rookie, you can say that. But going to year 3, I get it. Second year as a starter. He's had 2.5 years of playing time. Essentially,
That's why I'm saying this is really the make or break year for Brock Purdy. This is where, and when you say Super Bowl or bust, I don't think last year was it. This was his first. He got hurt in the game against the Eagles. This was his first big time.
Had no off
Right.
season.
This is Brock Purdy's first. I need to show the world what I can do. I am a 6th round pick. I need to show the world what I can do, or 7th round pick, whatever. I need to show the world what I can do. And he's either going to come out and he's balling. That's going to set the tone of whether or not this is the guy. I don't know if he is like a 20-year Tom Brady guy. I think he is at least a 4 or 5 year extension guy, like a Trevor Lawrence, and then show his true colors once he gets paid kind of guy. I could see that happening a lot more than longevity of like a Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. But I think he gets paid. I think that you can't dismiss the fact the guy threw over 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. The guy still balled out. So he lost the Super Bowl in his 2nd year. Big fucking deal. Give the guy a chance to prove himself. He ain't going to do it his first full season. Give him I'm not going to say he's not going to do it his first full season, but he didn't. Big deal. Give him a chance to come out here, full year, full offseason, full everything. Let him show you what he can do. This year is the real test for Brock.
This is the real test because this is arguably the last year you're going to get Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel together. We're going to see what Parasol's going to be. Kittle's getting older.
Kittle's on the way
He's
out.
got some injury problems as well. CMC's not old. He's not old. He's actually been healthy. That I do like the backup running back. That's going to be the backup when Mitchell's finally gone from that Louisville running back. I like that Louisville running.
Nope. Fuck him. CMC
No,
all the way.
No, but
CMC all
eventually,
day,
what I said is CMC is the starter, but that guy's going to be the back. He's going to be the Mitchell
No, I know.
role. Probably once
You don't need no
Mitchell's gone.
touches. No nothing.
Yeah, he does.
I need CMC only on my fantasy team. You understand me?
Me too. I got the number 1 pick. I'm taking CMC too, so I need all.
I got him in Dynasty, dude. I need 3-4 more years out of him.
I think with the Niners though this is the year they have to win. I mean,
agree.
we said last year, for example, was the perfect year for the Ravens to win. And I'm not trying to bring up Lamar and the Ravens, Luke, but like last year was y'all's year to win because Kansas City. What I was saying is last year y'all year was to win because Kansas City was so down, and somehow Kansas City did their thing. But the Niners have to win because of the talent they have this year. They're going to be together next year. What's going to happen long term?
No, I agree with Doc 100%. This is the year. This is the Purdy year. There's no excuses. He's got the offseason. He's healthy, and let's not forget he's eligible to get paid after the season. Like this is the season. This is the Brock Purdy moment. If he's the guy, they can sign him after. This is his
3rd year.
Third year. Yeah, because he played in his first.
At the end of the 3rd year, they could pay him. If like this is it. This is the year. Either he's going to show us what he is and get paid, or who knows? He could be out the door. But 100%, this is the season. This is the season, yeah, for sure.
What I think last year was offense was there. We had some injuries. Greenlaw went down late too, didn't he, in the playoffs?
In the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, that's
Trevor,
right.
He tripped over the grass and he tore his ACL.
he got
running onto the field.
False start off the sideline.
Jake was so pissed. I remember that message.
I was too, but that was a big loss. I think last year you chalk it up to okay, first full season from Purdy, first time under the big lights in the Super Bowl. No harm, no foul. He got to the Super Bowl. You can't dog that from Shanahan or Purdy.
And I will give Purdy the credit too, Doc, because he led comebacks against Green Bay and Detroit. I will give him his flowers in there as Purdy and Shanahan finally did something they finally made comebacks. I'll give you that.
This year, I think, is we don't get it. Get to the drawing board, figure it out. And I think maybe next year is where Shanahan starts to catch that heat.
Agreed.
I just don't.
I'm not saying fire, but I think next year is where he starts getting that heat because I think this year is like, hey, we know what you got. We know what you're capable of. You got next season to figure it out. And we're going to start talking about some options.
It might be hatred. It might go back to 28-3 with him. It also stems to 2019's season when they decided to trust fucking Jimmy G to throw a deep-ass pass to Emmanuel Sanders out there. He overthrows him by 7 yards when they just run the clock out and not give Patrick Mahomes, you don't give Tom Brady time. You don't give Patrick Mahomes time. There's a couple quarterbacks you don't do that for, right? Those are the two that you do that. You see that early on.
Caleb Williams, you don't give him time.
Let's not forget the 10-point lead against the Rams in the 2021 season in the NFC Championship when they were up 10 points with Jimmy G. And let's not forget last year in the Super Bowl when they had that fucking one. And then they do stupid shit. The offense lets the defense get gas because they can't stay on the field long enough. It's just an ego thing for me. I think he's a great coach. He's a hell of a play caller, one of the best coaches, offensive mind coaches.
He's just under pressure. He loses his mind.
His ego. It's this.
It's this. To do too much. I want to, Chris. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Brock Purdy. I don't care if he's 2 more years, 3 more years, 20 more years. He is a win. He is the guy for San Francisco. Getting him as late as they did. You're right. He's a flyer. And prayer that he had some talent, and this guy came out and he did that, what he did for the city of San Francisco and this football team, getting him to the Super Bowl in his second season. It's a win. I don't care how you chalk it up. It's a win either way.
But like I said,
agree. And if you bring up the old one, that's on Jimmy G. Emmanuel Sanders was wide open. He should have hit that throw. We win the Super Bowl. But no, he's garbage.
On Shanahan for the play calling as well. That's my point. Why are you?
He was wide open.
I get that, but why? But why aren't you just running the clock out? Why are you giving Mahomes even the
read the defense calling audible, dude?
Why aren't you read the defense calling audible?
No, and
he could have checked it down too.
Look at Kelsey's stats before Dre Greenlaw got hurt. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Dre Greenlaw gets hurt, Kelsey goes off. It's a whole different ball game when Greenlaw gets hurt.
And I'm going to be honest, going back to that play in 2019. I'm willing to bet a pretty hefty amount that the target on that play was not Emmanuel Sanders. And that's why I think you do chalk that up as a Jimmy G play because
it was the fan in the front row. That was the fucking target.
Yeah, but he's wide open and you're an NFL quarterback. If you can't rely on your quarterback to make a deep throw, then you don't need to
It's not even that. It's not even that. You come out, you've got your number one target, what your route is for the play, but you've got other options. And Brady has shown us that. Brady has shown us what the check down looks like. Jimmy G could have held on to that ball and taken the safe route. Well, that was a quarterback. That was a coach that called a play that had one deep route. Okay, you know what? Send in that deep route. Pull some secondary to open up the short game, open up the mid game, whatever. Find something a little more reliable. And Jimmy G was like, hold my beer in the first row. I'm coming for you.
Well, here's the thing.
That was a quarterback decision, not a coach. Shanahan was not in the back going, get Sanders deep in the end zone. I want to shove it down their fucking throat here.
Here's the thing with Shanahan right there in that play calls. Before they got to the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, they played the Vikings and they played the Packers. And guess how they got to the Super Bowl? They ran the hell of that fucking football. I think Purdy threw the ball 20 combined times in both games, 20 something like times like that. Low numbers, averaging like 10, 12 passes a game. They ran the ball.
If you're a quarterback and you're that worried about it, why don't you just take a sack?
Why are you up 10 points with fucking 9 minutes left in the game? Are you throwing the fucking football when running the ball is what's been working all game long against that defense, which was not the Kansas City Chiefs defense of right now, and Patrick Mahomes on the other sideline? That is a coaching decision as well as a bad throw by the quarterback. It wasn't just that one play that led them there, because even if they make that fucking touchdown, the Chiefs still have time to come back. They still have like a minute and a half to fucking score a touchdown. It wasn't just that play. It was the whole quarter. It was not just that play. It's the thing.
I agree.
But over under, we digressed. Over under 12.5 for the Niners, and I'm going over.
I'm going over.
Over.
I'll go under. I think they take a little
Okay.
step back this
Whoa,
year.
hold up, 17-0.
Well,
You better rethink that 17-0.
well, 12
I was wrong.
wins.
I was wrong.
Well,
You go
12
come
wins.
under 12 this year with only an improved team.
Well, 12 wins is the same number as last year. So if he goes under
Yeah.
12.5 and it's 12, it's the same season.
Yeah, I didn't say they're not going to win the division. I just
Yeah,
don't think they're going to get 13.
12, but we took the last game of the season off.
Yeah,
Hey,
could happen
still
again
counts,
this season.
still counts a loss on
That's
the
what
record.
happens. It does. That's part of the game.
So,
You guys would have won
I
that
like,
game probably.
I like 12. I
Yeah,
like 12
I know.
wins.
I don't know. After that Vikings showing, who knows?
I like
Who knows what happened?
13-4 and being the 2 seed this year in the NFC as of right now, July 8th.
Who you guys
One
want?
seed going to the Bears.
Detroit beat San
Shut
Francisco rematch in Week 17. They beat the Niners, and that's why the Niners have to play Week 18, and so the Lions, because if the Lions lose and y'all win, you're 1 seed. But I think revenge game. They had y'all up 17 in San Francisco last year. I think that they get the revenge that they need just to secure home field. I'm high on the Lions, though. I'm high on the Lines. I'll be honest. I'm high on the Lines.
Niners
Lions need a hell of a running game this
either.
year.
It's not.
Yeah, they got to, I think 12 wins is fair.
For who? The Niners?
The Niners, yeah, they have.
I have 13-4. I respect the regular. I respect the regular season. San Francisco 49ers as Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. I respect it in the regular season. I really do. Hate him in the playoffs.
No, you hate him in the Super Bowl.
Hate him in big games.
I think we signed Justin
That's how I feel about what's his
Justin
nuts,
Simmons.
Johnson from Detroit, or not Johnson, Dan Campbell.
There's been a lot of talk all week from a lot of stuff that nothing confirmed, but a lot of talk all week about us signing Justin Simmons.
And you could also make a play for I can't think of the name now, from the Broncos corner.
You know who you guys need?
Surtain, yeah.
You know who you guys
free
need?
agent.
You need Cody Parkey.
Get the fuck out of here.
How you elevate?
They have a dog at kicker already.
Nah, dude, let him go. Let him go.
No, but that's the NFC West, boys. That is the NFL divisions. We have officially wrapped it up. And wow, I love the Niners own the division / league. I don't know if they own the league. I haven't seen them win a Super Bowl since I've been alive. So
You don't have to win a Super Bowl to own the league. Are you talking about the league or the conference? Are you talking about like the NFC league or the NFL league?
Well, league is the whole league, not just the fucking. That's
I'm just saying. You hear people talk about it both ways.
This isn't baseball. This is football. Football is conferences.
I'm aware, buddy. This isn't my first time watching football.
Not the same ownership like Rodgers owning the Bears, but
Okay, Jay, you and I gonna talk
Or
offline.
or Rodgers owning the NFC North, just the whole division.
Now Jordan Love owns Bears now.
Yeah, Jordan Love bought
Hardly say that.
He bought ownership shares from Aaron Rodgers.
You can hardly say that, dude.
Oh, didn't he sweep him?
He did. He made the playoffs too. Hey, and won a playoff game. He did do that. But a great 8 weeks.
Let's talk about Lamar.
We'll talk about Lamar later.
Talk about Baltimore RB1.
Hey, we could talk maybe Lamar next week if you guys want to start our fantasy weekly episodes where we start doing our top 10, who we think in each position going to fantasy to help our viewers out there.
No, if we're gonna talk about top 10, then we ain't gonna talk about Lamar.
Fantasy purposes, Lamar.
Maybe you said we're gonna talk about Lamar.
Lamar's top 10 fantasy. Yeah, you can say what you want. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, they're
because of his legs.
top 10. So yeah, we'll talk a little fantasy coming up. Maybe we'll start tying 2 episodes in here. You know, who we get in here. I know Chris wants to be part of the fantasy. We also have college football coming. You know, it's coming up there. It's the last month, boys. No football, no competitive football last month. So we're getting there.
is that a Gator chomp? I'm down with that.
No, hell no. Watch your mouth.
Luke, tell them about the UCF game. UCF beating the Gators, right? In the swamp.
Oh yeah.
No, but great
just like UCF beat the Gators last time they played.
Bowl game, yeah.
It was.
You were there.
Who didn't beat the Gators last time they played?
That's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys had a first round quarterback, so I don't know.
FSU got theirs. That's all I'm saying.
And they had first round quarterback and first round wide receiver.
I know.
And,
see,
and,
This is
and
the
a first
problem
round
when you
tight
say-
end. And a first
this is
round
the
tight
problem.
end.
When
Yeah.
you say they had a
That's
first round quarterback, that dude couldn't even be fucking 10
dude.
team all SEC.
But he was drafted first round.
Dude, Doc was getting ripped on TikTok and Facebook this past
fine,
week when
dude.
the AR clip
That's
came
fine.
out. It was bad. But no,
I'll
good episode,
publicly
boys.
walk it back when he proves me wrong.
Great episode, boys. Like I said, we're gonna start talking some fantasy with some drops coming up sometime in August. I know ours is the later part. We're all actually in the same redraft league. It's all about the balls redraft league. So we are all there. Jake, I don't know what pick you have, but Luke has pick 2. Doc and me are. I'm in the middle. I don't know about you, Doc. Where you
Jake's got pick 13
at? Oh yeah.
every round.
All
Jake
right.
draft is on Sunday, by the way, so be ready.
Anyways, great episode, boys. It's just all about the Boss Podcast. I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke Rule. That's Jake Winnicott. That's Nick the Doc Circlewin. Shout out to you, Alan and Chris. We are out. You guys have a great night.